Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Ladies and gentlemen and listeners of the Randomness of Nothing podcast, as always, bring you innovators, entrepreneurs, creatives, and people who walk their own paths in life. And today I have a very special gentleman from the great state of California, the beautiful city of San Diego, Elias Curtis, CEO and founder of Transform Design. Thank you, sir. It's an honor and a pleasure. And you found Entrepreneur, actually, ironically, in 2009, when kind of the world was kind of on fire when it came to the economic downturn. So you have 25 years of software experience and all of these wonderful things that really brought you to a fantastic company. So can you tell us a little bit about your background, please? Mm-hmm. 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 What's crazy is that even in 2009, right, not every company had an online presence, right? It was still, contrary to popular opinion that it is right now, you still had to kind of drag people along even back then, that this was, even with all the technology that was available then. What was that like when you were already seeing ahead that you needed to have an online presence and you're explaining SEO and all those things to people who are like, man, I'm just, I don't need all. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Of not even close. Right. So, and what's funny is obviously you have a very high level of understanding of AI and automation. Clearly, this is, the big buzzword that's currently in the norm. What exactly impact have you seen on that, on the small business side and the design of things?
So yeah, the AI integration piece. So it's still a big learning curve for a lot of businesses. They're just not sure, how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to learn, understand how it works,
Mm-hmm.
especially with artificial intelligence, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
well, is it going to do everything for me? Is it going to replace every single daily task that I'm doing?
Right.
Does it need to be managed or refined, and like how to be communicating with this thing?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a little bit of all of that mixed together.
Yeah.
But
it's
yeah,
and it's funny because usually innovation and technology moves faster than legislation, laws, and regulations, right? Usually,
yeah,
because what's the saying? Businesses move fast, governments move slow, right? That's kind of the adage to it. So,
yeah,
I would, clearly, you people who are doing the right things will just have to adjust to whatever
mhm,
comes down the pipeline to adjust their business model accordingly.
yeah, yeah. So the big thing now is so a lot of companies at the moment they have what is called fragmented systems, and so they have all these different pieces, all these services that were done, but they're not well connected. And so that's where the automation and filling the gaps and making sure that everything is pieced
Right.
together properly so that it works the way it should.
Right.
And a lot of the service-based businesses we work with, their big thing is lead conversion. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we want more leads, but then
Right.
we go beyond that and say, okay, well, we can help with lead conversion, but at the same time, you need to be able to have a system that can sustain
Right.
that growth.
Right.
So that's the goal with any business we work with, is scalability and growth.
What's the challenge of bringing somebody? I've asked a couple different business, consulting firms and entrepreneurs. When you get into the family dynamics of you need to evolve the company to this digital era versus like the dad or the parents or the grandparents' business is kind of old school, so to speak, not dissing that. So what's it like when you have to come in and bridge that conversation to the digital era versus I'm traditional brick and mortar, pencil and paper kind of a deal?
I mean, that's the question. I'm like, well, how fast do you want to grow?
Mm, mm,
Because I mean, it comes down to speed and efficiency. So I mean, yeah, you can go the traditional route. You can build this thing one day at a time, which is great. I'm not against that. But I mean, if you can build a solid business revenue, for example, within the next year or two, and
mm.
then we can, show a plan and work towards that end. Not guarantee, you're going to get, all the results you're looking for.
Right,
But at least be in a better position to
right,
succeed.
right,
We can assist with that, or we
right,
can just, most businesses are going to say, of course, I want to generate more revenue faster.
right,
So
right.
that's where AI integration comes in and start building all that out.
So, obviously, you go beyond just building the website and SEO. When you talk about lead generation, and you have like the CRM and everything like that, the platforms that people have access to, can you give us like an understanding of like your onboarding process? And I say this only because what
Mm-hmm.
started as, hey, I'll build your website, I'm pretty sure you became, okay, how do I grow? What's your advice? And then suddenly you become kind of the consultant, sort of speaking, to these businesses just naturally and organically because you've already increased their sales from their online presence.
Right, right. So it is a complete system. So for many years, we're just doing service each service at a time, and that's fine. I mean, you do that, but you don't want to have missing pieces, you know.
Right.
Because if you have missing pieces, then you're going to be missing out on opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for example, social media is probably the hardest part of the system to not just build out, but to be active on it every single
Oh
week.
my gosh,
Right?
man.
It's a big problem for businesses. They don't even want to touch it. That's how bad it is.
Man,
So for
it's
us, it's an opportunity.
yes, yes.
So we'll
It's
get in there. Yeah, we'll get in there, set everything up for them. We can even do the posting, have everything automated, man.
I don't think people realize, even when it's automated, it's still like, if you do it yourself, they have a lot of different platforms. It's still tough, man, because like
Still tough.
it's so hyper competitive out there. Even in the world of podcasting space, and I've done hundreds of episodes. It
Right.
gets overwhelming, man. You're just like, man, I gotta schedule 8, 10, 12 posts. I gotta clip the right clip. You have to have the right hashtag. You have to have the right clip to make sure your guest looked in the best light. You have to edit something, and you're just like, for lack of a better term, this kind of sucks, right? And so if somebody, to your point, owns a business, they're not thinking about, especially somebody, maybe older who's not the social media savant. It's like, dude, I don't want to do all that. Like, but
Right.
it's necessary in this economy, in this era of growth, because people make their decisions now based on what they've seen on social media.
So it's having a presence online, and then we can get into a whole conversation about SEO and GEO and how that all works, because that's part of it too. And so we're about
Right,
building authority online, and that helps with ranking and exposure. And so if you're
right,
to be searched for, and AI is feeding all the answers, right?
mm,
You want to be there in the answer, right? You
right.
want your company to be cited and be a credible, trustworthy
Yeah,
resource for
without
anyone
question.
who needs a service. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
reputation is obviously, it's very, very tight. I'm probably butchering the quote from the 48 Laws of Power. But when it comes to the online presence, reviews, it's a great book, by the way, too. The online presence, the reviews, and the ability to make a good impression the first time. What's the social media presence importance of a company now with this digital era that we live in?
You literally have to be almost everywhere
Mm,
if possible. You don't
mm,
necessarily have to be active on everything, but you do have to have at least a presence
mm,
on everything if possible, especially in your space,
mm.
in your industry. And the same thing with the marketing. If you know your target demographic, then everything needs to be tailored to that, from
Right,
brand messaging to your
mm,
SEO to your marketing campaign.
right.
If you have a specific customer that you are looking to work with, then
Mm.
that's how you got to get in front of them.
let's pull back a bit. Let's take it to the very beginning when you first decide to start creating your company. What's it like getting your first client? Sending emails, is it cold calls, knocking on doors, like going to friends and family? Did they say you're crazy? This will never work, kind of a deal? What was that like, right?
It was a mix of all that, man. Yeah,
I understand.
we just had to go through it. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, man, it was just one of those things where we saw, we had the vision, it's like we had the plan, we had it all, worked out on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, putting in the work and actually being consistent, disciplined, and that helped a lot. And yeah, we got a lot of rejection. We sat down with clients in meetings, at Starbucks and whatnot.
Yeah.
A lot of we do on Zoom right now. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Of course.
But,
You're right.
it was the pricing, right? I priced.
Your whole neighborhood goes black in seconds. Except your house. The Patriot Power Generator 2200X from 4 Patriots keeps your lights on when the grid goes down. It's the most powerful generator 4 Patriots has ever built. Only 4 Patriots gives you backup power without gas, fumes, or a loud engine. Just lights, a cold fridge, and peace of mind when the power fails. Right now, save $500 and get 2 solar panels free. That means you can recharge twice as fast, but only while supplies last. Keep your lights on, your food cold, and your family calm when the grid goes down. Don't wait for the next blackout. Visit 4patriots.com today. That's the number 4, patriots.com. And see why families trust 4 Patriots to stay ready.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Low.
Yeah.
The value of what I was able to do was high, but then I was so low.
You're trying to get your foot in the door. You're trying to get your foot
in the door. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So over time, when you start picking up more clientele and building up that base, then then you can price, market value.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of, I'm sorry I cut you off. Go ahead, please.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, the problem that sometimes you run into is if you're kind of trying to step out and do your own thing, and this goes across the board, is if you may not have a person to lean on to be able to tell you, like, hey, you have to kind of just go through it organically and kind of figure it out. And, it's not easy to have those lonely nights at the dinner table, to know if your pricing is wrong or right. And then for people who are trying to start out and do something, you really just have to kind of just go through the fire and brimstone, so to speak, to really figure out what you're doing right or wrong.
Yeah, thankfully, man, I had my wife that was there.
Beautiful.
So that she was a sounding board, man. She was like,
yeah.
The blind spots I've had, in the beginning. But, even now, being married for about 18 years, and that help and that support is very, very deep when it comes to building something together. So whether I was, moving too fast or moving too slow, I mean, she's there to kind of do those things that I need support and encouragement. So,
right. What kind of questions do you ask somebody when you first bring on a client? Because now everybody's rushing to have the best online presence now. Before you were knocking on doors. Now I'm assuming it's the other way around, so to speak, when, because of the way things have transformed in the last, even 5 years, especially post-COVID.
Yeah. So, our business model is a little bit different. Actually, we got a few businesses that we got going on.
Beautiful.
But, we have Transform Design, which is our agency. And then we have other website I built out called Business Launch OS. Literally operating system for businesses. Literally does all that. And we're discussing as far as AI integration and building out CRM.
Beautiful.
Flows and all of that. So it's a cool product.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's they'll come to us, but that trust is so important though. touch, if you will. It's like, okay, I need to see a face. I need to know who I'm working with. Because the
Yeah.
thing is, a lot of our clients, the ones that we do very well with, they're with us for a long time,
Right.
right? And we can have clients come in and they'll say, well, I want a logo, and then we won't hear from them again.
Right.
So that wouldn't really be our ideal customer,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just one service. Like we want to
Correct.
help the entire system
Right.
can grow together with the business, so that
Right.
we can, look 10 years down the road and, have more case studies.
Right.
So we do have some case studies like that, and you go on our website, check those out. But yeah, it's really, that's really what it comes down to. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's good because, there's a natural, growth we use. Like you said, you built that second stool where you're like, okay, well, now that you're onboarding clients, your business is growing, you need to have an ability to focus on your core competencies as a business, right? And if there's a platform, and sometimes building that platform in-house can be very time consuming and very expensive. That's why software companies exist, right? Because they can go ahead and ultimately utilize platforms. When it comes to your business model, is there an ideal customer size that you kind of have tailored your services for?
Yeah, we mainly work with SMB.
Okay.
So
Okay.
small, mid-size,
Mm-hmm.
service-based. We're talking
Mm-hmm.
legal, financial,
Mm-hmm.
construction, within, businesses that would benefit from leads.
Yes. Dentists, doctors' offices, and things of that nature, right? That's beautiful. And because of now, when that word of mouth starts happening and people start calling you out of left field, that's got to be a great feeling, right? We're getting those emails, those inbox pings, and things like that. So, what's the future of your company hold? And tell us a little bit more about yourself, maybe like your educational background. Did you have like a computer science background? Did you have a business background? Like where did that all kind of marry itself together to formulate this really fantastic company and system you built?
Yeah, no problem. So originally I'm from Connecticut. I went to school back at Eastern Connecticut State University and got a bachelor's degree in graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing this for quite a while.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I got into the corporate world where it's like, okay, I had a good job, and I was doing graphics, and it was cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Benefits, all that. But then I was like, it almost felt like you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to be able to grow and do more in life, and so that was pulling at me.
Yeah.
While I was
keeping you up late at night, tugging at you. You know what I mean? Son.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had to take that leap of faith and jump out, and we did. And we have to come back and no regret on that.
What do you say right now to the people who are trying to, especially in this era of, automation, unfortunate layoffs, technology evolving in front of them, but you stepped outside of the box and now you've kind of, been, you've been on both sides of the equation. So what do you say to people who are now in this kind of transformational phase of the transitional period, so to speak?
They really got to question, deep dive questions within themselves of like, okay, what am I doing? How am I going to do it? What am I doing it for? Right. So you have to work through, the plan, you have to work through the goals, and, because, desire, right? The things that we enjoy, things that we like, the preferences and interests. And so it's like working through that, especially big picture, right? Because a lot of people just kind of, they look at the business and they're like, well, yeah, I can do that. But then when you actually, put legs to those actions, and it's like, okay, this is hard.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Just helping them get started.
Right.
In that process.
Right. I think that probably the biggest, thing that people have get caught up in the social media era, unfortunately, is instant gratification, right? Because they only see the visual in front of them, but they see your website, they see your clientele base, but they didn't see that if you read long enough, it started in 2009. And that's 17 years of blood, sweat, and tears that finally got you that moment, because they there's an assumption that it came easy or that onboarding clients, and it's difficult to get clients. It's difficult to get leads. It's difficult to get people who are very busy and to build that trust system up and to provide service. And it's difficult when things don't go the way that they were supposed to. Those are uncomfortable conversations.
But we have to have them.
Yes.
We have to be true about that, honest, and
yeah.
work through those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pleasure because, even when I first wanted to turn the microphone on, I'm like, yeah, it'd be really cool to start a podcast, but let me go watch this other episode on Netflix before I do it, right? It doesn't really work itself out like that. The two are incompatible with one another, so to speak. You're right. So, what does the future hold for your expansion? How big is your clientele base? I don't want to give too much information away. Is it nationwide, California primarily, West Coast mostly?
So I'd say we're global. I mean, we have clients all over the place.
That's amazing.
Other countries, yeah.
That's amazing.
Nationally and locally, and so yeah, I'm really thankful for it.
Yeah.
But as far as the future, I mean, my wife and I discussed it, and we're just like, we have options.
Yeah.
We got two sons.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And if they wanted to run the business,
Yeah.
Yeah. They got their own things that they're doing. So
that's amazing. Yeah.
Okay, well, if they don't want the business, then of course we can go ahead and sell it.
Yeah.
Connect it out in like 10 years or whatnot. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out. But
okay.
In the meantime, we're going to continue doing what we're doing and helping businesses to grow.
It's got to be nice too to have the tools that have automated some processes for you rather than you doing a lot of things manually on your end as well too. As your clientele base, as technology evolved, you're like, okay, I can put this in a funnel, I can automate this task, and I can give people the exact results they're looking for without doing lines of code or graphic designing from scratch. So anything that makes your life, more efficient for your customer and client base, so you can get more customers and focus on that as well too, because you don't want to get bogged down in the sauce either all day, doing one thing, and spending 6-7 hours, which I'm sure you did at the very beginning, building the company.
Yeah, exactly.
That's absolutely amazing. And is there anything we haven't covered before? I certainly want to be very cognizant of your time, and I'm very appreciative that you wanted to be on my podcast.
No, I appreciate it, man. I think we covered most of it.
Yeah.
There's always more to something, right?
I'm sure I'll kick myself when we get off, and I'm like, I should have asked that question.
Yeah, but you can always reach out and available online, social media.
Yeah.
Our website, transformdesign.com. Yeah, I'll be able to share what I know.
And that's where people can find you too, because it's very important. Obviously, I'm following you on LinkedIn, and if we had a chance to link up and have some, healthy conversations, and I wish you all the continued success with your company. I think it's always amazing when people build and do great things, and sometimes the great business that is taking place could be right in your neighborhood, and you don't even know it. And that's the reason I created the show, was because 80% of employers, I think, are like small businesses, or, so you have to really actually seek those people out to get their insights, because not everything has a billboard is on TV and they're just as successful as there's success stories everywhere. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.